Alright, we're going to start with some basic Godot stuff. I'm going to go to 2D up here in the top middle. This will select me on 2D mode. And what we're going to do first is we're going to click 2D scene up there in the top left. And this is basically, we're just starting our very own 2D world. So I'm going to rename this here to let's just call this world. So everything that we add to the world is going to be under this. And we're going to start off by adding our very own sprite. And a sprite is something that we can move around the screen and mess around with. So click on world. And then in the top left hand corner, you're going to hit this plus sign. And we are looking for Sprite. I already have mine here because I was messing with it earlier, but you can type Sprite. You want to pick the sprite that is blue because we're making a 2D scene, and the 2D, the blue nodes are 2D nodes. So we're going to click Sprite, hit Create. Now, nothing appeared yet. That's because we haven't given it a picture. So over here, we have the inspector node. You see I'm kind of stretching it out. When I select on Sprite, you'll see that it says texture here. That's where you're going to give it its picture, whichever one you want to use. We're going to go ahead and use this default picture that comes with the a brand new Godot scene. So this icon here, you're going to click this and drag it in and drop it into texture, and now the picture appears. So if I want to move this around, I can click it and then I can grab this and I can move it around. We don't really want to move it all that much, but hey, you can do that if you want. Let's go ahead and save our scene so we don't lose any of what we're doing. Because right now, if you look in the top left, it says unsaved. And we don't want to have it unsaved. So before we save, let's do over here in the bottom left. We need a place to save it. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to say new folder, and I'm going to call this scenes. All of my scenes I'm going to save into the scenes folder. Now I can do Control S, and I want to save this scene in the scenes folder, and we can leave it as it being called world. It just named itself as the top left here, world. So I'm going to hit save. Okay, so alright, I lost track of where I was. So we've saved it into the scenes folder, and the way it gets the name world is from this top node here, so that's where it got its name. Alright, so we have our scene saved. So if we close the scene up here in the top left, it's got like a little X. It'll take us to nothing again, but if we want to get back to that, we can just go to our file system and find world and open it, and now we're back to where we were. I want to give my character a name, so I'm going to right click on Sprite and I'm going to rename him, and this is going to be Bob. So now we have Bob here. Now if I click on Bob, you'll see that this panel comes open over here again, and we're looking over here and we can see that we have one that's called transform. If I click this little drop down box, you can see that we have position. And as I move Bob around, the X and Y will change based upon where he's at. And then the scale will change his size. And rotation will change how he's rotated. Alright, so I'm going to refresh all those. So he's all back to normal and he's at 1, 1. He's at 0, 0. He's at the start. If I go up into the top right and I click this little play button here, it will play my scene for the first time, and there's my game. All I have is him sitting in the top left hand corner. He's not doing much, but hey, we got it to play. You have an output down here at the bottom that may have popped up for you. That's just basically telling you that your game ran and how it's working and stuff. I'm going to click this here and close it. Let's experiment with some scripts first. Let's see if we can program Bob a little bit. So if you click on Bob and if you right click, you can do attach script right there. Or if you click him, you look in the top right, that little script panel thing right there with the plus sign, that'll allow you to add a script to him. So if we clicked add a script, now it wants to know where do we want to put this script. I don't want to put it in my scenes folder because that's where I put all my scenes. I want a new folder called scripts. So over here on the right, I'm going to hit this folder and I'm going to go up one level. That's this up arrow. And right next to the scenes folder, I'm going to create another folder. I'm going to call this scripts. So now I have two folders. If I go back up, you'll see I have scenes and scripts. I'm going to go into the scripts folder and I'm going to click open and it's going to create. Now we can hit create and it'll create a Bob script for us. Alright, so this part is going to look a lot like what we've been doing in REPL, and I'm going to teach you guys a little bit about this. This is why you want to know how to use Python, because we can do some really cool stuff here. Alright, I'm going to get rid of some of these comments, and I'm just going to tell you how this stuff works. So I'm going to get rid of these two comments. This here is the ready function. The ready function plays one time whenever the object is created. So this function plays one time when the object is first created. Okay, so you can see there that I typed this in just like I would if we were on REPL, and it just basically, I put a comment for myself that anytime I run my game or create a new Bob, this function is going to play one time whenever it's first created. And right now that function does nothing, so Bob doesn't do anything special. Let's go ahead and move Bob around the screen. Now remember, this is only going to play one time, so I'm going to type the words position dot x is equal to, and I'm going to say 500, and then I'll go to the next one, position dot y is equal to 300. Let's do it like that. Now you might be saying, Mr. Eversole, how did you know that you could move your character with the word position and dot x? Well, let me show you. Here's how I knew that. If I click on Bob and then I look over here on the right hand side, it's got some words that say under transform it says position. If I hover my mouse over it, you'll see that it's got an underlined word there and it says position. And then it says position relative to the parent node, and then you have an X and a Y. So if you want to change his position, you can use the word position in your code. If you want to change his size, you can use scale. If you want to change his rotation degrees, use rotation underscore degrees. I need to get back to that where we were coding, so I can go over here and I can click this script, or I can hit script at the top middle. I'm going to click the one on him because it takes me directly to his script. Now if you look in the top left, it says world and it has a little asterisk. That means this stuff is not saved. So if you run your game, it will save it. So right up here in the top right, if I do play scene, it's going to save and play my scene. And look at there. There's our scene, and Bob moved from the top left. Now he's in the center of the screen because we changed his position. We said position X is 500, position Y is 300. So if we change these numbers even more, if I did something like 800 and 500, you'll see that he'll get moved into an even different position. So if I hit run again, play that scene, he's no longer in the center, he moved here. Let's change it back to 500, 300. That will put him back in the center. And now let's also change how big he is. So that one word that we had, if you want to go look at it again, you can click on Bob and go over here and it says scale. It's all lowercase, SCALE, and let's do that. Let's do scale dot x is equal to 2, and then scale dot y is equal to 2. Now if we hit run on this, he is twice as big as he was before. And if you want to get crazy, you could do 4, 4 and run it again. And now he's massive. You can make him even bigger than that. 8, 8, run. Boom. Bob is in the house. I'll put him back to 1, 1 because I like normal size Bob. Alright, well what if we wanted to rotate Bob a little bit? So let's do rotation. And then look, as I'm typing it, it's giving me some options. So I can move down. I want to do rotation degrees is equal to 90. Let's see what that does. Let's run this. Now Bob has been turned 90 degrees. What if I do 180? He's been turned on his head. And if I do 720, he will get turned all the way to the left. You could also do 45. That's another one that they do. 45. He's at an angle. All right, let's leave Bob's. Let's not mess with Bob's degrees. Actually, 0. I think 0 is normal. Okay. Well, this is fun. Well, what if we want to do something while the game is playing? That's what this function comes into play. I'm going to hit this button right here. Do you see this? It says distraction free mode. I'm going to click that and you'll see that it gives me more room. If you click it again, it'll put everything back. It pretty much just makes the area bigger so I can type more stuff. So I'm going to wipe this out and I'm going to unlock these two because they're commented out. And this is the function process. This runs one time every single frame of the game. Okay, so basically how games work is they work off of like calculations. Every single time the computer can calculate, it will run the code to see what needs to happen. This one will run only one time when the game first starts. This one, however, is going to run over and over and over every single time it has a chance. Some computers run even faster, so they calculate more. Some computers run a little slower, so they calculate a little slower. But this is going to just keep running over and over and over. This is kind of like a loop. This one's going to play once. This one's going to play over and over and over again. So I'm going to show you something. We're going to do rotation underscore degrees plus equals, and let's see what 1 does. So every single time the computer runs this, it's going to take Bob's rotation and it's going to add 1 to it. So we started out at 0, so then every time it calculates, it's going to do 1. And so Bob is going to slowly move. Let's see what this looks like. See if he looks crazy. Play. Ooh, he's spinning so fast. Look at him. Let's see if we can slow him down a little bit. I don't like him spinning so fast. So I'm going to do 0.01. Oh, you could do 0.1. Let's do 0.1 first. Let's play it again. There, now he's spinning a little bit slower. And let's do, what does 0.01 look like? Let's run that one. Now he's turning a little bit slower. Okay, now we can get fancy with some stuff here. We could say if rotation degrees is less than, let's say less than 90, we want to do that part, right? So if rotation degrees is less than 90, it's going to add this this little turn to it. And then I'm going to say else rotation, come on, oops, else rotation degrees is equal to 0. So what's going to happen here? Bob is going to rotate if his number, he's going to rotate a little bit if the number is lower than 90, and then if the number is higher than 90, it's going to reset it back to 0. So let's see what that looks like. So Bob is rotating, and then he snaps back, and then he just starts rotating again. As soon as he hits that 90, he rotates back to 0. So we could rotate him back even farther. Let's see what this does. Let's do negative 25. Let's see what that looks like. So he's rotating, and then he snaps to negative 25. Alright, so that was some pretty fun coding. We'll do some more later. I'm going to hit this button here, and that's going to shrink this down so I can mess around with it, or I can get everything saved. If I hit 2D, I can look at my scene. Control S is going to save. Now, if you want to mess around with some more of those scripts and see how they work, you can hover your mouse over and take a look at it and see what you want to edit. You can edit colors, you can edit size, you can edit all kinds of stuff. Um, Actually, you know what? I'm going to show you one more thing. I'm going to click on the script one more time. If you hold the control button down, you can hover over these special words here, and then if you click them, it'll give you like hints on how to use it. So this says scale, and then it says vector 211, so that's the size. That I was using scale.x to change one of them. So if you use the vector 2, you can change both of them. But anyway, that's not. I'm getting ahead of myself here. If you want to see how to change some stuff like position, here's how position works. I can control left click and it will show me how to use those things. And you can also use this button here, the help. You can search for all kinds of help with all the different things. Alright, so that's it. You guys have a good day.